Hi, ladies. It's Beth from Be Styled. Happy Halloween. Happy Tipsy Tuesday. If you don't know, I'm not a big fan of Halloween. I never was. That's one of the nice things about being an empty nester. I don't have to deal with Halloween and costumes and sewing. Not that I ever did that, but just never been a big fan. But I decided, since I think I'm going out later today, I was like, what am I going to wear today that's sort of recognizing the fact that it's Halloween. And I decided to break out what I thought was my leopard top. I figured I'll be a leopard, right? My college, the Lafayette Leopards, are our mascot. And when I went to find the link to this blouse, because everyone asked, oh, where did you get the shirt? I found out this is actually a Dalmatian print. Go figure. It's a khaki and black Dalmatian print. I thought Dalmatian was always black and white, but this does come in black and white. But anyway, I digress. Hello, welcome. Today we are talking about a topic I'm very kind of passionate about, and that is pant rises. This is something I get a lot of questions about. There's a lot of passion when it comes to pant rises, especially as they've gotten higher and higher, as the trend in pants rises have gotten higher and higher. There's people on both camps, the lovers and the haters of, quote, high-rise pants, jeans, especially. Now, I'd be curious to know what camp you're on, because the camp you're on is really going to be probably dependent on your vertical body shape. And we're going to talk about your vertical body shape and determining what your vertical body shape is. Most people are familiar with their horizontal body shape, which is taken by, in a nutshell, looking at your shoulders, your waist, and your hips and deciding, your proportions. Are you an hourglass, an apple, pear, a triangle, all those things. We're not talking about that. We're talking about your vertical body shape. Some people refer to it as being long torso, long-waisted, short torso, short-waisted. That is really going to be what's going to determine the rise that you like. Now, the thing about pant rises, especially with denim, is it's a huge factor when it comes to comfort. And that's a very personal thing. Some people are more comfortable in a lower rise. Some people are much more comfortable in a higher rise. Higher rises feel like it kind of sucks things in and smooths things out. Lower rises, depending on your body, can create that muffin top, can cut off, and create, flab that hangs over your waistband that doesn't feel good. But there's no right or wrong answer. And the good news is all rises are now available for the most part. The bad news is there's no standard. There is no industry standard when it comes to mid-rise, low-rise, high-rise. There is not. So you need to just ignore the terminology, is what I'm telling you, which is hard. I know it makes online shopping hard, but it's not impossible. But when you are looking at a jean and you think, oh, I love those jeans, they look great, and it says, high-rise jeans, and you say, well, I don't like high-rise, scroll on by. Stop. Because high-rise, mid-rise, low-rise are all relative terms. They are, in fact, they're almost meaningless because there is no standard. If you were to go onto, onto Madewell's site, they do a great job of showing, what they mean by high rise, mid rise, low rise. But if you compare that to, the Gap maybe, or Express, or another one that delineates that, it's completely different. It's off by several inches. So forget that. I don't want people to say, I don't wear high rise. You don't want to wear high rise pants that are high rise on you, but that is going to be a function of what the actual rise is. So what is rise, ladies? I have my handy dandy measuring tape here. I don't like math. I don't like firm measurements. I think this is more art than science. I'm not a seamstress, but in a nutshell, your rise in your pant is the number of inches from the crotch, where the seam is, the crotch of the pant, to the waistband of the pant. That's the rise. Now, the rise that you want is, you need to determine that. On average, a sweet spot for a lot of people, for me in particular, for example, or for a lot of people, is a little bit below the belly button. That's a sweet spot. But that, you can't just look for jeans that are going to land below your belly button, because everyone's rise is different. Everyone's torso length is different. So you need to get your measuring tape out, buy a measuring tape on Amazon if you don't have one, all right? And you're going to measure from your crotch to where you want the jean or the pant to end, and figure out and say what that number is. I'll tell you mine just by feeling it. I like, these pants I have on right now are definitely high rise. I don't dislike them, but I prefer a little below my belly button. So probably, I mean, I'm like a 10-inch rise. That's about what I look for in a jean. That is probably on some retailers, that's going to be considered low rise. Most, it's probably considered mid rise. Some might even consider 10 high rise. It all depends on the retailer. It's a big mystery. And some retailers don't even tell you the rise of the pant. And if they don't, I suggest asking. Go onto the chat and say, what is the rise membership, number for this measurement for this pair of pants? Because if they just say high, mid, whatever, it's meaningless. And, if you're in the store, you can try them on. But if you're shopping online, you need to know where it's going to hit on your torso. Now, for those of you who say, I hate high rise, I feel like, I feel like I have diapers on. It just feels like so much fabric here. Chances are people who feel that way probably have either proportionate or short torsos. Those are the people who struggle with true high-rise jeans, because they are going to come up really, really high. Even a mid-rise jean, mid-rise on me, on someone with a short torso is probably going to be high-rise and might come up to their rib cage. So you need to know what your rise is, and then find out which pants work with that. Cabby, for example, I don't believe, in fact, I had a big kind of issue with them because they didn't say what the rise was on the pant. They would say mid or lower. And I was like, no, I need to know. As a stylist, I need to know the actual number. So now I know. If anyone is looking at Cabby pants and you don't know the rise, or you want to know, just message me and I have my little chart and I will share with you the rise on all the Cabby pants and jeans. But how do you know if you have a short torso or a long torso or a balanced or proportionate average torso? It's very simple. And I've showed this trick. You've seen it on the internet. If you haven't, I'll do it very quickly. All you don't need any calculators, or you don't even need your measuring tape anymore. We're done with that. All you need are your hands. And you need to remember that this is a proportion based on your body, not on mine, not on anyone else's. It is just the length of your torso versus your legs. Your torso and your legs, okay? So you're going to take your hand. Let's take your left hand. This is my left hand. Put it right under your bra. Put your fingers together. Put your hand right under your bra. Take the other hand. Put it right under that. So they're, your thumb is touching your pinky, okay? Now, if I am average, so my lower pinky is going right to my belly button. I can feel my belly button. Right at the bottom of my lower hand. If your belly button is being covered by that lower hand, if it is up underneath the lower hand, then you have a short torso. If your belly button is below that lower hand, you have a long torso. If and again, if it's right there, then you're average, you're proportionate. If you have a short torso, chances are you have long legs. And you might say, well, Beth, I don't have long legs. I'm short. I'm only 5'3". It's not a measure of height. It is, you have long legs relative to your torso. That is I find that to be probably the most common body type in my groups are short torso, long legs. And I have that with women who are 5'2", and I have that with a friend of mine who is probably close to 6 feet. You can have a short torso and very long legs. On the reverse, you could have a long torso and short legs, and it doesn't matter how tall you are. What you cannot have are a short torso and short legs. I mean, you can, but that means you are a proportionate petite. You can't have long torso and long legs. If you have that, then you are tall. You are considered proportionate tall. It's the other. Does that make sense? Okay. So the issue with high-rise jeans is usually with women who are that short torso, long leg, because they just feel like the pants are coming up like Urkel, you know, that they're just all leg and they lose their whole torso. Women who are long torso with short legs, very few of them hate high-waisted jeans or high-waisted pants, because think about it. If you have a long torso, that high rise is going to shorten your torso and lengthen your legs. And if you have a long torso, you have short legs. So you're creating balance with the high rise. Okay? So that's why everyone's different, but everyone has a really kind of strong feeling about it, because it's very uncomfortable to have your rise not be right. If you find you're always like pulling up your pants, it's probably because your rise is too low. If you find you're always like trying to push them down, or you just feel like there's too much here, your rise is too high. All right. So that's why people feel so strongly about this. Now I want to give an example of ways that you can minimize. Let's say you have a pair of higher rise than you would like pants, and you have a short torso. Some things you can do to lessen that, to lessen it visually, and it probably isn't going to necessarily make you feel more comfortable, but visually, things you can do would be to bring up the neckline on your top. If you're wearing a high-rise pant and you have a short torso, by bringing up the neckline on your pant, you are lengthening your torso visually, right? Whereas if you have a high-rise pant and you wear a V-neck, because everyone says, oh, I've got a short torso, I should wear a V-neck. Well, if you're wearing a V-neck shirt and high-rise jeans, you have just smushed your torso. You're doing the exact opposite of what you wanted to do. Instead, the high-rise jean and the high-rise top is going to lengthen your torso. Okay? So think about your neckline. Think about your neckline, not just, and you could think of it this way. You're going to match your neckline with your rise. High-rise pant, higher rise top. Lower rise pant, then you're going to want to wear your V-neck to create that balance. Again, this is I'm really addressing this to the short torsoed women here, because that's who I hear from the most. But I know you long torso girls are out there, and high rise jeans are your friend in that case. They really are. And you know, high rise and a V-neck is great when you have long torso, because it's going to lengthen everything. It's going to make the high rise to make your legs look longer, and the V-neck will kind of, you have different options with necklines, but V-necks are generally pretty good for most people. But anyway, let me see if anyone has any questions before I continue. I'm trying to think what else I wanted to share. We talked about how to find your rise, how to find if you're long or short-waisted, and then you really just need to do your due diligence and find those pants that are right for you. I mean, the pants that I have on now are definitely a high rise. These are, and I linked everything here, these are on sale too. These are a Gap 70s flare. So they're long to the ground, and they are, I checked, they're an 11-inch rise, which is the absolute highest I would ever go. So you can see with my pants tucked in, my belly button is down here. The rise are here. So let's say, well, this is a perfect example for me. So because I don't love a really high rise on me, I'm not going to tuck my shirt in really tightly and wear a belt necessarily. Instead, and especially if you're shorter waisted and you're wearing a higher rise pant, you can do the loose half tuck and skip a belt. You're not going to want to wear a belt in that situation, because you're just accentuating your shorter torso. So by loosely and hiding that high waist, by doing this, I'm basically adding this much. I'm lowering my high rise jean by like this much, but I'm still getting that really comfortable. Like, these are so comfortable because they're just, it's almost like like a girdle effect. They're just sucking everything in and smoothing everything out. But by either wearing a top untucked that's maybe this long, or in this case, blousing it out, I'm gaining a couple inches below the high-rise pant. That's another trick. So I think that's all I have for you today. Getting technical with all these numbers and all this math, but I hope that helps you understand why you don't like high rise or why you do like high rise. And I would be curious to hear what people say here, what your opinion is, because it's probably going to be a function of your torso, and the jeans. I mean, the level of stretch in the jeans. Sometimes a really stiff high rise jean, you know, some people find that uncomfortable. Some people like the stiff because that's where you get the real girdle effect. You know, a really stretchy high-rise jean sometimes can just show that whole pooch. It's not sucking it in. It's just sort of, it's almost like wearing like leggings, you know? It's just going to show it. So you got to look at the stretch content, the cotton content, spandex content, and all that. It's a lot, ladies. So that's why I encourage you to join my group, because then I can tell you, you know, give you exactly my opinion on what would be good for you. But for just general purposes, think about what just get that number in your head. Like my magic number is 10, but that's not going to be meaningful to you. You need to know what your number is and memorize it. And when you're shopping, if you're in the store, if you don't want to waste any time trying things on, if it doesn't say the rise on the tag, which I'm on a crusade, I think every pant should have the rise on the pant. I think it's as important, if not, it's really more important than the inseam, because the inseam, you know, you can always cuff, hem, cut, but the rise is the rise is the rise, and you've got to have a rise that you like within, you know, an inch or two in either direction, inch, maybe not even two, an inch in either direction, and just remember that if it says mid-rise, that it could be high-rise on you. If you're a short torso, if it says mid-rise, it could be down to here. It could be like the old bell bottom if you have a long torso. Mid-rise, because that's the other thing. I think we all say, I just want mid-rise. I don't want high, I don't want low, I want mid. Well, what is your mid? That is the question. Your mid might be my low might be your high. I mean, it's all, there's no standard, and I don't think there ever will be, because that would just be too logical, right? Way too logical. Anyway, that's it. All this has given me a headache. I want to go back to talking about color and style, and all this technical stuff is just giving me a headache. So I think I'm going to say goodbye and stop talking. I'm sure you appreciate that. All right. Any questions, post them below. There's a link to my top, my necklace, my earrings, my cardigan that I took off, my jeans, and I'm actually wearing cowboy boots. I have these brown cowboy boots, booties that I got several years ago that I've never worn, that I think I'm going to wear today because they look great with this top. But anywho, that's it. Happy Halloween. Enjoy some candy and trick or treat. Bye.